Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me today with another sit-down interview with a medical professional. My name is Mr. Buckler, and today we've got school nurse Hannah Christensen with us. Hannah, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you, David. Appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm excited to ask these questions, to hear your responses um, about your roles currently and in the past as well. I think my students are excited to hear it as well. So let's just dive right in. So why don't you tell us a little bit about what you do for a living now?
So currently, well, I'm a nurse. Currently, in my role, I am a school nurse in an elementary school. So I get to take care of kids who are sick or injured in different capacities.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a lot of different things that you deal with,
Mm.
for sure. Well, tell us a little bit of what kinds of nursing you've done in the past. What other kinds of roles you've played as a nurse?
Yeah, so nursing's really cool that you can do a lot of different things. So when I first started as a nurse, I worked on a cardiac floor. So I got to be involved in different cardiac procedures and different things, primarily with adults. And then I moved into the ER and I worked in the emergency room for about 10 years. And then after the ER, I did a little bit in pediatric surgery and then I worked in adult surgery. And now I'm a school nurse. So I've done a variety of different things, but most of my nursing has been in the emergency room.
Yeah, that's really neat. That's something I interviewed another nurse. That's so cool that's like being a nurse is very transferable. And
Hmm.
I think we'll probably touch on that a little bit more later as well. That's pretty unique compared to other roles that I've interviewed
Hmm.
in these kind of interviews, um, which is really cool. I think something my students can look forward to if they're wanting to be a
Hmm.
nurse.
Yeah, for sure.
So let's hone in on being an emergency room nurse, an ER nurse, because that's where you said you spent the most of your time so
Hmm.
far as. What made you want, well, let's just broaden this even more. What made you want to become a nurse in general, and then end up in the ER for most of your time?
Yeah, so I wanted to become an ER nurse. Well, I wanted to become a nurse in general. I knew early on because I love just the people interaction and just being able to talk to people. I knew from an early on, I guess probably maybe fourth or fifth grade, that I didn't want to sit at a desk. I wanted a job where I could be up and moving around. And then I also wanted to do a ministry job. And so thinking how I could do a job that was both very practical but also very ministry related, the medical field
Mhm.
um, came to mind. And so, as I started thinking through and praying through what God was calling me to do, nursing became very clear because I can use that in so many capacities. And early on, I wanted to use it during mission work, and I have used done that before with short term trips. But nursing is really cool because you definitely get to minister to people on a very deep level.
Mhm.
And I think going into the ER, I love the ER because you get to be with people on their worst days. And that sounds really sad, but it it's really cool to be able to just take someone's hand on their worst day and be able to give them hope, which is something I really loved about the ER.
Mhm. Yeah, that is pretty unique for really any type of role or career to be that person, especially as a follower of Christ, like to be that influence during that worst day, because there's so many other people that they could meet.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and yeah, being a
Hmm.
Christian in that role as well,
Hmm.
makes a huge difference, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about your ER experiences? What was being an ER nurse like? So let's I was gonna say these questions together, but maybe let's chop them up. What was a normal kind of day like as an ER? And then this is like definitely air quotes around normal because I'm sure there's absolutely no normal day. But what was a typical normal day like in the ER?
Yeah, so definitely normal was not. normal. But I think a lot of people have misconceptions about what the ER is like. They
Yeah,
think
I'm sure.
about what they've seen on TV, and
Yeah.
it's definitely not that exciting. Some days really were kind of boring.
Mm.
Um, but then other days things would be really crazy. And you just never knew, which is what I loved about the ER, because you never knew when the crazy was gonna be. And
Yeah.
sometimes that was exhausting, but um on a normal day, it was just a lot of, why is this person having stomach pain? Why is this person having chest pain? And just asking a lot of questions. And I would work with the doctors to try to figure out um, a diagnosis for a patient. I love that I got to work with doctors so much. Um, and then other days, you might have a gunshot victim come in. You might have a really bad car accident. A lot of days we would have people coming in with CPR, and we would do CPR and try to get their heart back started. Um, their heart back started. That did not sound right. Try to get their heart restarted.
There you go.
um, so it just kind of it varied. Some days
Yeah.
were really intense, and some days were actually kind of boring.
Yeah.
Um, but there were moments that I really felt like I got to share with people who had suffered a lot of loss, and share with people the hope of Jesus.
Yeah.
Um, but then there were some moments where I was like, oh man, all we're seeing today is more stomach viruses than anything
Mhm.
else. So,
Yeah.
you just never know.
Yeah. Did you have any like ER superstitions, like full moons? Oh no, the shift's gonna be crazy, or kind of stuff?
Yes, I do think full moon. So I've always heard that full moons affect the tide, and
Uh-huh.
that affects the I mean, you could probably tell us more. You're the science teacher, but it's a proven fact.
Yeah.
Every full moon cycle, it would be crazy for a couple of days.
Yeah.
So
I
yeah,
mean, I could
I
see
definitely
that.
saw
I
that.
mean, I get more restless and
Yeah.
don't sleep as well when it's a full moon, and so yeah, I'm sure that's
Mhm.
got some effects on the ER. I can imagine.
Mhm.
Yeah, so you shared a little bit on this already, some of your experiences in the ER. Is there like one or two like main kind of experiences that stick out as really impactful to you during that ER time?
Yeah, so always when we had kids come in, that definitely impacted me more than adults. It's a lot easier to grieve someone who is has had a full life versus someone who is younger. I think one of the ones that stuck out to me a lot is a mom who there was a few different scenarios where a mom came in with her child running in with a medical emergency, and we were able to get the child and resuscitate them, and just standing with the mom in that room, and just being able to put my hand on her shoulder and telling her we're doing everything we can. Your kid, like, you're gonna be okay.
Hmm.
um that one really stuck out with me.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then there were some other just like really interesting different scenarios that stuck out with me. I don't know. I probably shouldn't share too much on a Zoom call in front of your class, because
Mhm.
some things you see are just wild.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Um yeah, but I think the situations with families, and younger people always stuck with me a lot.
Yeah.
Um,
So how do you in light of those experiences as well, you touched on this a little bit for like how did you being a Christian influence impact others? And I want to continue to dig in that. But maybe before we get into that, how did you being a follower of Christ impact your perception on those hard experiences? Because it's not just hard for the families, it's like you as
mhm,
well, because you're going through those experiences, you are dealing with the families and the patients and stuff going through really hard things as well. How did
mhm,
you continue on through that, especially for 10 years, right? Because I feel like
mhm.
I would burn out in 1 week in a situation like that. So how did you continue on for so long, especially as a follower of Christ?
Hmm. Yeah, I think so something that the Lord always kept bringing to mind is um like he's coming to make all things new. That was something that stuck in my head over and over in the ER because I would really feel discouraged because our world is so broken. And I think you see that brokenness firsthand in the ER,
Oh, sure.
with the amount of homeless people we would have come through, the amount of prisoners, and different gang violence, different things. You really saw the heaviness of our world in the ER, and
Mm,
the Lord kept reminding me, like, I'm coming to make all things new. And so, being reminded that the Lord is coming back soon and that He is going to fix all things broken, that helped me keep going.
mm,
And I was able to share that with other people, not just patients, but my coworkers too. Um, because it's really easy to become calloused in the ER. And I worked with most everyone in the ER who was very calloused. And when I say calloused, I mean that they no longer felt the amount of care that they should for other people because they had just seen so much.
mm.
Um, and just being reminded that the Lord is coming back to fix broken things. And we may not see it right now, but we will.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's what gave me hope and endurance to keep going.
Yeah, that's a good word. Hopefully my students will hear that and take that with them as well, whatever careers they decide. Because I
Mhm.
think any career, I think especially ER nurses, I mean, I can't touch that at all, but any career's got those times where you've got to keep on keeping on and continue, as you said, keep caring and with the right
Mhm.
perception, as you said, that all things we may do. Um,
Mhm.
so diving into a little bit more detail, what ways and like how were you able to influence um others, like your patients and their families during your time as a nurse in any role that you've been in so far?
Oh man, nursing is cool because you really get to be with people in really vulnerable moments, really embarrassing moments, really
Mm,
kind of funny moments, really sad moments. Um, and in those times, I can't say I always did, but I tried to keep my eyes open for when I could share about Jesus, or pray with people, or just hold their hand and sit with them.
mm,
Um, and so I definitely feel like I've had a lot of different moments when I've been able to do that. When I first started nursing on the cardiac floor, I sat with a lot of people who were in the dying process and just was able to comfort them and their family. I sat with people who don't have any family and are in the dying process.
mm,
Um, and then, just different scenarios where I can hopefully give hope and joy in different situations. As a surgery nurse, being just a kind person before they go back to sleep. They're really worried about what's going to happen during the surgery, and being able to pray with them before their surgery.
mm.
Those are really neat opportunities. And now I just get to really have fun with kids and
Mhm.
do dress up days and put band-aids on scratches, and hopefully, hopefully just share the joy of Jesus in the school. So.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's something that's really unique to any of the roles that you've been in, where I feel like a lot of people are constantly like, Lord, how can I share the gospel? How can I be a light to other people? And like literally with that role, God's like, here's this and this and this and this every
Mhm.
single day and moment by moment, just about where there are opportunities to be missional
Mhm.
while still right here at home. And that's hopefully something that my students can be
Mhm.
impacted about who may be considering becoming a nurse, thinking
Mhm.
through like how do I live out my calling um,
Mhm.
on my life, and it may be nursing in that way. So hopefully, yeah, hopefully that makes an impact on them as well.
Yeah, for sure. And I feel like, well, when I was younger, I thought that in order to be a missionary, you had to go overseas.
Mm,
And so I really wanted to go overseas.
yeah.
That was my whole trajectory. And I thought that if I went overseas, that's how I would do ministry. And then in college, I met my husband, and life took a different turn, and the Lord opened the door for us to be in Chattanooga, Ringgold area, and the Lord hasn't called me overseas, and I feel like I'm living out more of His calling and more of His mission than I would ever be doing overseas.
Mm.
Maybe not more, but the same.
Hmm.
I feel like doing mission work is the same, whether you're overseas or whether you're um, living in the States and working a normal, weekly job. So,
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I feel that same way. Similar experiences where like I
mhm.
felt like I was gonna end up overseas and Lord had different plans.
Mhm.
Being missional, whatever role, is an important thing. That's what we're called
Mhm.
to do. And so for students who may be considering becoming a nurse in particular, for whatever reason, whether it's just a general desire to help people or it is that burning missional passion, what can my students do to prepare to become a nurse?
Yeah, so I think the first thing is pray. Just pray for the just discernment and calling, and don't be in a hurry to figure that out because I think the Lord will open the door when it's the right time. Um, and then another just really practical thing, I saw a lot of my friends in nursing school. They went through all the prereq classes, and then the first day of clinicals, they were like, I can't stand the sight of blood. I can't
Mm,
do it." So they had to completely take a 180
mm,
and choose a different degree. So I
yeah,
would make sure that you're okay with blood and some other, and some of that sort of thing.
yeah,
And just know that like you're okay with that, and just kind of explore different your interests, and talk to I would really encourage y'all to just talk to people.
mm,
I think the more you can talk to people, the more you can even like job shadow, is a really good way to kind of discern what you're called to.
yeah. That's been a recurring thing. I mean, I think every interview I've done is
Hmm.
job shadowing to get that experience. Like you said, like if you can't stand the sight of blood, like this is probably
Yeah.
not something for you. And it's helpful to figure that out sooner rather than later. Now, doesn't
Hmm.
necessarily have to be seventh grade, but
Hmm.
like into high school and figuring those things
Yeah.
out. And like you're saying, like asking people,
Hmm.
hearing stories, and hopefully these kind of interviews help with that to
Hmm.
kind of
Yeah.
um maybe not hopefully encourage students, but and maybe just to kind of filter through what you may want to become and what you might not want to become.
Hmm. Yeah.
Because each their own.
Hmm.
And then there's
Yeah. And
also
one.
times where you say like, I'm never going to be that, and this is what I said. Both my parents were teachers. Said I'd never be a teacher, and here I
Yeah.
am. So
Yeah. And one very practical thing I did was I started volunteering in at the hospital.
okay,
Um, when I was younger, I grew up in a really small town, so I could start volunteering as young as I think 12, which was kind of crazy. I don't think you can do that now. I
yeah.
think you have to be in high school, but that's something to think about down the road is volunteering at a hospital just to get some experience.
Yeah, and I'm sure that kind of works as a double whammy too, because I know a lot of my students want to get service hours
Oh
for
yeah, for
different
sure.
academic clubs, and
Hmm.
doing that while also figuring out that maybe this isn't something
Hmm.
for me, or this is something I am passionate about.
Hmm. Yeah.
Um, yeah, is very practical. I like that a lot.
Mhm.
Um, all right, so always kind of like to wrap up these interviews with a question that gets kind of more directly at your middle school experience because got middle schoolers they don't believe me and others that we went to middle school and it's like no it's true we survived and you will too and
Mhm.
so what was your favorite part of middle school?
Oh man. Um, so when I was in middle school, I was a cheerleader, and I feel like the pep rally that I got to cheer in was like one of those core memories.
Mm,
I was very excited for my first pep rally that I got to kind of help lead. Um, and then also when I was in middle school, we crimped our hair. I don't know if y'all know what hair crimpers are, but we were very, and my hair was wild and crimped, and I thought I was just the stuff. So,
Nice.
I would say crimped hair and pep rallies were probably my favorite parts of middle school.
That's hilarious. Yeah, all the trends. This now these kids will watch it and years later will watch and think about how they did their hair up from
Oh,
the
yes,
front
I
all
know.
crazy
Hmm.
and think
Yeah.
back to that. Like, why did I do that? I had the
Mhm.
same thing too. The Justin Bieber hair,
Oh,
like really
yes.
long,
Yeah, that's what all
swoopy
my guy
hair.
friends
Like,
had.
that's
Yeah,
where I
and the
was.
Razor came out in middle school. The
Yes.
Razor phone.
Yeah.
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 Those were cool. I had a pink one, I think, and that was like
Nice.
cool stuff. So,
Oh, I wanted one. We had one of the sliding ones that could slide either way, up or
oh yes.
sideways.
Yeah.
It had a keyboard on the side. Yeah, man, oh man, these kids will never
Yeah.
know.
I know.
The iPod touches back in the
Yeah.
day and stuff. So,
Yes. Hmm.
yeah, that's so fun, man. Hannah, thank you so much for sharing about your ER experiences and nursing experiences with us today. I'm excited to maybe hear from you in the future as well. Your school nursing experiences as well. I'm sure you'll have plenty of stories there too,
Yes.
with the kiddos. But thank you for taking the time to do this interview with me and for my students to hear from you as well.
Oh, well, thank you. I appreciate the opportunity.
Yeah, this has been great. All
Yeah.
right, we'll see you later.
Okay. Bye.